I'm filming this after the entire rest of the video, but I just wanted to do like a very quick disclaimer. Um, do not attack anybody that you think this video is about. I just wanted to voice my opinions on like Polygate as a whole and just like poly hair as a whole and my opinions, my outlook on it, and all that stuff. Like, I don't intend for this to like be attacking anybody. I just want to like voice my opinion because so many people are talking about it and it's just like a very big point of contention. It always has been in the collecting sphere, specifically with dolls. So I just wanted to like give my 2 cents on it, even though this is a very long video. I apologize. But again, please don't go attacking anybody. Please don't like make this like a my word is law type thing. Like, again, this is just my opinions. None of this is scripted. I just want to talk my piece, talk through it with you guys, like figure out the things as they go. I really don't want this to be like anything crazy. I love Polly. No, I don't, but you'll see that in the video. Hi guys, welcome to my channel, welcome back to my channel. It is Sweetest Dolls, and today we are having just like kind of a rant style video, like I'm just gonna talk. I have some notes over here of stuff I just want to like touch on. And as you can tell by the title of the video, this is about polypropylene as a hair type and how the what I'm dubbing Polygate situation that arose on it's June 2nd, Friday, is making doll Twitter specifically go up into like flames because of one designer from Mattel. I'm not going to say their name, I'm not going to leave any of their information because if you know, you know, and I don't want to send them hate. This is obviously their opinion, but they were talking about how they didn't really want any negativity or hate on their page. They are just sharing their creative process and all that stuff, and obviously like don't attack somebody for that. They're just doing their job and the long term of things. But at the end, after they were talking about how they're excited about their first big job at Mattel, because they're doing most of the faces for Monster G3, they just started posting the Iridescent Sculptman Secrets line that they worked on. I don't know if those are the first dolls that they worked on. I'm assuming they are. And at the very bottom, in like a very light text, so like you can almost barely see it, it says, I love Polly, discussing the hair type. So I guess that's where we're gonna start. So, if you don't know, what is polypropylene? Polypropylene is a hair type that stems from a plastic. It's a type of plastic, but that is also obviously used on dolls and toys because this obviously isn't real hair. This is plastic hair. But examples of polypropylene on dolls that you probably know pretty well, at least I would hope. A lot of Barbies use it. I don't know which Barbie specifically because it ranges, but specifically if you have any Monster High G3, all Claudines except for Monster Ball use polypropylene. So yeah, some like just like discerning features of poly are it is very dry. It doesn't really take to like water or liquid well. It's very hard to work with. It deteriorates over time, if you guys didn't know that. Obviously, all hair types do because it's plastic. Plastic slowly deteriorates over time, but this is a very cheap fiber compared to other hair types like saran and nylon and stuff like that. And while those also do have like varying degrees of quality, because Bratzilla's used saran and nylon, but it wasn't the highest quality. And we know Bratz towards the end used poly, but some of it was good. There's treated poly, which basically just means it has product in it. It's still poly, so it's still gonna act the same. Basically, it just deteriorates over time. It deteriorates faster than other hair types, so you'll see dolls from 15, 20 years ago that have poly hair, and they just start deteriorating. I can show you this. It's not a doll per se, but it's something that I have that I know has poly, so once. Okay, I'm back. I just had to go grab it because it was on the inside of my room. So this is a My Little Pony G3 doll. I forget specifically what this pony is called, but this pony, I don't know why I'm calling him a doll, uses poly, I'm pretty sure. If I'm wrong, just let me know, but it does have the like discerning traits of poly. It doesn't really take the water well. If you brush through it, it has like these really like dry frizzy ends, and I just brushed my hair through it and there's already hair that is deteriorating off of it. It's specifically the like light orangey pink, but yeah, ever since I got this one from a friend, the hair has just been shedding like crazy, and that's because it has poly. Again, if this isn't poly and this is just a really low grade of nylon, please correct me, but I'm like 99% sure this is poly. But yeah, that is like the biggest issue with poly. The hair type is that it deteriorates really fast and it's really hard to work with, and also it just doesn't take to water very well or anything like that. So yeah, why is this a big issue? Well, consistently, it just sucks. Like, if you are someone that's buying a doll, regardless of how much you pay for it, although in the case of Monster High, they're charging too much for dolls with poly hair. So let's say you just got Creep Over Frankie right here. They are a doll that retails for $24.99. They come with a lot of pretty nice hair, like clothes and stuff like that, but they have poly hair. You paid a more deluxe price for a doll because of the build and also the hair. This hair is poly. Not only is it going to be harder for a child to like play with and deal with and keep well, but it's going to deteriorate faster over time. It's going to get really bad really fast, and it's just going to lead to the kid like wanting to put them away. This Frankie specifically has straight poly, so they didn't like curl it. It's not curled or anything like that, so it is a lot easier to manage than normal poly, which usually is like curly, or like in the case of Claudine, which we will get to in a second. But this I have been able to brush out and it looks fine, but I don't know if you can really tell, but the ends are for sure frizzy already. I've had this doll less than 4 months or something. I got them, I want to say, back in January or February, and it's June, so I don't know how many months that is. I'm not going to do the quick math, but again, it just shows how little time I've had them, and I'm already seeing issues. And I don't really play with this doll. I took them out, did a review on them, and I put them up on display. Like, I don't really do much to a lot of my dolls because I do like to have them on display, and I usually like to get doubles if I want to play with them. But it just sucks because you're paying a premium price, and we'll get to more of the premium prices with G3 specifically and how that's a much bigger issue because of what you're getting for the price point, but you're paying a higher price for a doll that is seemingly going to be higher quality, but it has a lower quality hair fiber than the budget dolls, like this Day Out Frankie. Day Out Frankie has saran hair, full head of saran hair. It's really nice. It's really soft. Obviously, it's saran. It really doesn't take much to manage it well, and it has almost the exact same like effect that they want. I will like, obviously, something that you might not know is that when you use white saran hair, it does have a yellow tint to it. It's just like how it works, and with poly you can get the like really stark white, but to be honest, I don't think a kid is gonna notice it that much. Like, I think they would notice how the hair feels more than how it looks. So wouldn't you want to sacrifice maybe the aesthetic purposes just so you can get a better hair fiber so a kid will actually enjoy their product? That's another issue I have. I'm gonna just be jumping all over the place, so I apologize. But another issue I have with the use of poly specifically is when it comes to toy designers saying they love poly or they prefer poly. Again, to each their own. I'm not gonna be one to hark on somebody's like preferences. It's obviously their preferences. They're a toy designer. I guess they know more than me. But as someone that has been collecting dolls and knows the different hair types and knows what I like and what I did like as a kid, because I did play with dolls when I was little. We all did at some point. Being a designer that you know you're marketing these to kids. These aren't like collector dolls. These aren't like Skullactor dolls that are going to that are being sold to collectors. Like, you know, they're being sold to collectors. These, obviously, kids gonna want to play with their doll. Why are you using poly? Like, a kid is gonna take this out of the box, be like, ooh, pretty doll, play with them, probably rough them up because they're a little kid and they don't know any better, and this hair is gonna become a mess in like a week, I'll say. Give it a week or two, maybe a month, if this is like their favorite doll at that point in time. they will be playing with them a lot. This hair cannot be fixed unless you use a like flat iron or like you use any type of like heat tools, which I don't think a 5-year-old is going to use. So, and I don't think a parent is going to know how to fix his hair. So what happens one day when their favorite doll from their favorite doll line has really, really bad hair? Example, Claudine. This Claudine I got from a friend just like straight out of the box, and it was already really bad. I had to just put their hair in twists and then tie it off in the back because I didn't want to deal with it. But as you can tell, the bottom is just, one, it feels bad. Two, it looks bad, and I can't do anything about it because I personally don't have any heat tools. I don't use any for my hair, so I don't want to buy any for my dolls because I'm not going to personally use it in my life aside from this. And I don't really want to buy something that's higher quality just so I can make a hair fiber on a doll that I already paid like 20 something dollars for just to make it like manageable or make it look good. Like aesthetics, if aesthetics are truly the most important thing, again, this is just my opinion, why would you want to limit the like the visuals of a doll based on the hair fiber? You can do so many more hairstyles on a doll that has saran or nylon than you can on poly. For one, poly is extremely bulky. I mean, you can just tell, like, this doll has a ponytail, but it's not really laying that great. It sticks straight up. It doesn't really, again, you can't really do much with it. So it's, like, if you want, for aesthetic purposes, why would you make it so that you are limited to this one thing, or like something of that variety? I'm starting to get tripped up with my words, but it's just like, aesthetically, I understand if you just want to, like, if this was the only like designed vision was Frankie with a high pony, whatever, but like you also have to think of like the other options, especially as a toy designer for kids. Again, these are not marketed to collectors. Specifically, G3 is marketed towards kids. That is who they are marketed towards, as you can see in Ultimate Secrets with like the surprise elements and like the color reveal stuff. Like, these are for kids. Again, so why would you want to turn off a kid from wanting to continue to buy your product or ask their parent realistically to buy their product when you have a doll that is going to get ruined within a month of like heavy play? And like, if you truly want these dolls to succeed and just be fond memories of a kid, buy the bad hair quality. Like, I'm trying not to get too like mad because it just sucks for me. I can't even think about a kid because I was lucky that I grew up in like a time period where pretty much every doll line or every doll that I touched had some sort of saran, nylon, Connect-On, like anything like that. I'd never really experienced a doll with polypropylene, so I always had fond memories of like styling hair and doing stuff like that. Like, I always went over to my friend's house or like my cousin's houses, and Claudine just fell. I always went over and I used to like play with their brats, and I'd be like, oh my god, this hair is so fun to play with. Like, hair play is such a vital part of dolls and just doll collecting, so it just doesn't make sense. And like, when you get to the point where this singular doll, say their hair is like a big mess and it's past the point of no return, the parent doesn't know how to fix it, the kid obviously doesn't know how to fix it, is very upset, the next time they see these dolls in stores, they're not going to pick up another one. The parent is going to remember that, oh, that doll that I got my kid had really bad hair, so let me go find something else that might either have better hair or is cheaper. And that brings into point the Ultimate Secrets line. So, Ultimate Secrets, specifically for Iridescent, but Series 1 as well, retail for $29.99, which $30 here in the US. I know that is on the lower end of what they cost elsewhere. I don't really know how much they are in Australia and like other places, but that's a lot for a surprise doll that you can't even see the face of until you open it. Again, it's not a real surprise doll, it's just like, ooh, like cute little like coffin thing that I'm gonna open up and I'm gonna see the doll as they're like waking up or whatever. But it's like, you don't get to see the face, so you can't really check the face for quality control, and like, that's a whole other thing that I'm not gonna get into. This is just about poly hair. You are paying the premium for the I guess play feature, and you're paying it for the doll and the clothes. So if the clothing quality stays the same across all the dolls, including the ones with saran, and the doll build stays the same, why is the hair quality changing? Especially on a doll that is, at right now, is the highest priced doll, within what the highest priced doll range for Monster High G3. We have, like, obviously, like, Gorganizer, Draculaura, we have the Hairplay Laguna that's coming out, which I think are, I want to say they're like $40 or something like that. I honestly can't remember. I got my my Draculaura a long time ago, but they're among the more expensive, and the cheapest that you can get a Monster High G3 doll at the moment would be the Day Out dolls, which I think are like $16, $17, which is still quite a lot, considering the core dolls are $24.99, and then these are the next option above. So why did Sculptman Secrets 1, the majority of them have saran. This Cleo, for instance, has saran. I also have Laguna up there. I just didn't want to take them down. They have saran, really nice. Their clothing quality is amazing. Face quality, point of contention. But overall, they have the same clothing quality, I would say, to the core dolls and every other doll that has saran. So why are you suddenly switching to Fluorescent, where every single character has poly? Like, I understand wanting to stick to your original design and wanting to get those, like, hair colors as close to the original design or whatever you, or mood board or whatever you had, but you are marketing these to kids. Hair play is such a big thing with kids. They want to have a doll that they can play, they can style, they can do all these things over and over again. But with poly, we know you can't do that. It has been seen that you cannot do proper hairstyles unless you know how to work a heating tool, which I don't think a 5-year-old is going to do, or know how to do, or do safely. Like, it's just not adding up. It just is not adding up. So I had to cut away for a second just to check my notes, because I'm just, like, kind of getting scatterbrained. I don't really like to script my videos. I just want to, like, go off and, like, have my either first reaction or just whatever. So I just had to see what I at least wanted to loosely talk about. And next up on the talking block is basically just the regularity that they're using poly more often. So when G3 first came out, literally every single doll except for Claudine and possibly Cleo have saran, which is huge. I mean, Deuce obviously doesn't have hair, but every doll that is, like, using, like, a hair fiber has used saran, which is huge, especially when it comes to Mattel. Because, while, yes, they do give some Barbies, like, saran, it's usually the more deluxe dolls, like the collector dolls, or it's, like, hair play gimmick dolls, which sometimes don't even have saran, which is wild to me. But it's so strange seeing how fast it switches up. G3 hasn't even been out a year, and after the core series, we already got Sculptman Secrets, which had 2 dolls with poly, which is Claudine and Frankie, and then with Creepover, we have Frankie and Claudine, again with poly, and then Sculptman Secrets 2, Fluorescent, everybody has poly. So there's, and Wave 2 of the core dolls, Abby has poly. We don't know. I don't know. I think Claude has textured saran, but again, you wouldn't really touch that hair, so it doesn't really matter. But with Abby, she has very long, straight poly hair, which looks fine. Colors are beautiful. But again, we're seeing, like, a consistent usage of poly that is getting more and more regular than we did when the line first launched. Not even in a year. I don't even think we have 30 dolls. If we do, then we're just barely breaking the first year of dolls, and we are already seeing, like, a more regular use of poly, and it's like, you're expecting us to go back to these dolls time and time again. They are also marketing these to collectors, again, mainly for kids, but they're also marketing them to collectors because obviously Monster High has a lot of nostalgia for people that grew up with G1, even people that grew up with G2 and like G2 are going to want to come back for G3 and see what they have to offer. But at this point, we are more knowledgeable of what hair types are, and we don't want to go back to a line that has poly hair. And I don't think a kid does either, because, again, using Frankie as my, like, eyewitness and, like, as my example, a kid gets this. It's their favorite doll. They play with them roughly for about a month. Hair gets kind of messed up. The mom doesn't know, or the parent doesn't know what to do, the kid doesn't know what to do, they can't really do anything to fix it, this doll's gonna end up in the trash. It's barely been a month. Or, again, this obviously is all circumstantial because obviously some kids are more light with their play, some kids are more rough, but that shouldn't be, like, this doll should not be for one certain kid that plays a certain way. Everybody's included at Monster High. That was kind of cheesy, but again, that is their big tagline, is that, like, be true, be yourself, be a monster. Everybody should be allowed to have a Monster High doll. And say your favorite character is Claudine. There's one doll that has Saran, and that doll isn't even out yet, really. It's just starting to come out. Like, Monster Ball isn't really even out yet. Nobody's really supposed to know it exists because it just, like, started showing up places. So it's like, say you love the media, like you love the TV show, you want to get a doll for your kid, their favorite person from the show, get them the core Claudine. I got mine Tara because, again, the Poly's unruly, but it's just, imagine the excitement. They're gonna have this doll, they're so excited to have it of their favorite character. Instantly, the hair on that Claudine soaks out of the box. It's long, it's matted, it's bad. It's bad, bad Poly. And say they go and they're like, I'm gonna go wash them and fix their hair. Take them in to the bath or to the shower or just, like, to the sink, and then they start brushing it out. Obviously, the kid doesn't know that they're, one, supposed to use, like, a metal hairbrush because you don't want to stretch the plastic with a plastic hairbrush because of the friction. They're not going to know, like, the proper, like, care that you have to do for Poly. So why are we making it harder for a kid to, like and grow and bond with a doll that they want than we are to make it easier? Again, I don't know the prices of, like, Saran compared to Poly, but if the price point is not, like, reflecting the, like, quality decrease of these dolls, because, again, there are I'm just gonna use Creep Over as my big example, because there are four dolls at Creep Over. There is Draculaura, Frankie, Claudine, and Twyla. Two of those dolls, Twyla and Draculaura, both have Saran. Claudine and Frankie both have Poly. But all of them have the exact same quality outfit. Some of that may be differentiating depending on if they used, like, reused molds from like the core dolls or from other dolls. But again, they all have, like, the same basic things. They have shoes, they have pants or some sort of bottoms, they have a jacket or something, and then they have a shirt, and then they have some accessories. And they're all at the $24.99 price point. So why don't we just give them Saran? Like, it's not like these dolls specifically are, like, a more budget version from the Creep Over line. That's not the case. It's still part of the deluxe Creep Over line. I would be a little more lenient if it was, like, say, like, a $10, $9.99, like, Creep Over budget doll that came with less and had Poly hair and had a more, like, simplistic face or something like that. Or had, like, a pixelated face. Like, that I would understand because it's obviously, like, a budget doll. But in the case of Monster High, none of the dolls are really budget dolls because, like, the cheapest we have is $17, and even after tax in some places that goes to $20, which is basically just like a normal price Playline doll. So it's not even like it's a budget doll. These dolls are considered the more deluxe ones because they come with a lot more outfit pieces, they come with accessories, they come with, like, pets and stuff like that. So it's like there is no differentiation for the use of Poly to be warranted because we associate this with a lower quality doll, and a lower quality doll would usually be, like, a budget doll. So this doll is the same exact quality as Draculaura. Draculaura has Saran hair and has the same exact type, like, screening style. It's not even like this doll is using, like, pixelated face, and even then that would be a bigger issue. But they are, like, arguably the build is exactly the same on these dolls. It's just the hair fibers that's different, which doesn't make any sense because you're charging more for a doll that obviously costs less. And, like, again, it all boils down to, like, the aesthetics of the designer, and I understand some things can be non-negotiable, but at the end of the day, this is not that different from the Saran. So why not just use the Saran? You, as a designer, will have more fun styling it. You, as a designer, will get more compliments on the doll. Not that that matters. Obviously, you're happy with the final design, whatever. This is just my opinion and how I see things should be done, or should be, I don't know, like, brought into creation. I don't know if they're, like, fully taking into consideration the longevity of the doll, the longevity of the brand, the like customer loyalty that can come from a high quality doll, because again, everything is rooted in hair play and like dress up. So like the clothing pieces can be interesting, but if it has bad quality hair, the chances of that kid wanting to touch that doll or even get them, slim to none. Because like if they've already had one bad experience with a doll with this type of hair, they're not going to get it ever again. And even if it looks slightly similar, say they know nothing about doll hair, they go into the store, they have had this Frankie before, and they want to pick up another doll. They're more likely to go for something from another brand that they know has a higher quality hair type, MGA, with nylon, than they are to go back to Monster High because they had this Frankie with poly hair. And I'm like saying the same things over and over again, but I just need to like really set it into like, I know most of the people watching this are probably going to be on board with me, but I just need to like hit it home, the importance of like all of these things. Like I just like retconned a bunch of stuff from the last part of my video, so I'm gonna like try to keep this short and simple because I don't really want this video to be too long. I already was recording for a really long time, and I cut the video down by I think like 10 minutes. Sorry. But yeah, kind of just talking about like the last thing I talked about, like how people are gonna go from like Monster High G3 to like MJ and stuff like that. The last like big point of contention is, I know this line is not meant for collectors. I know that they're not. I know that this is for kids, but Bratz is also a play line, doll line that's in stores around the same price as Monster High G3, and I know they're from two completely different companies. I know that Mattel is publicly owned, and I know that MJ is privately owned, so they can do different things. Mattel has to worry about the stockholders. MJ doesn't have to worry about that. They can do what they want. So I know that that's like a very different thing, but I think something that's important that Mattel does not really take into account ever is the feedback from their fans. The only time they really do that is with like Skullectors, which they don't even really do, and they're only starting to do it now because of the fan club membership, which I don't even think they've like pushed anything out, but I think that was the point of the fan club membership. I don't really know. That's not what this is about, but I'm just talking about this now. I know that these companies operate completely differently, but I think a very important point that differentiates like the loyalty that MGA customers have compared to Mattel is that MGA actually listens to people's complaints and they make it like a point to get like feedback. So if you've collected any MGA line in the past year, specifically Rainbow High, you would unbox whatever doll it is and you would get like a little slip. And it could be like, we want feedback, or I don't really remember what it says. But it's basically like you fill out a bunch of stuff and then you list your complaints or your qualms with whatever the product is. I don't know how many people have actually done that, but that is something that you can do. And that's like a huge step. For Mattel, I don't even know how you would voice your opinion. Like, rants about it on Twitter? I don't know. But it's the fact that MJ is actually like wanting to change, and that's the reason why we have such good Bratz reproductions. Like, y'all saw the Rock Angels repros. Those were a mess. But they all had high quality hair and clothes. The only thing they needed to fix was the face. That's literally the only thing they needed to fix. And guess what they did? We literally just got the Series 3 leaks today for like Felicia, Campfire Felicia, and she looks identical to the original. No matter what anybody says, I think she does. But I don't want to focus on that too much because this video is just about like poly as a hair type and like my opinions on it, but I do think it's really important to think about how Mattel just like does not really care about feedback from their fan base or their loyalties or anything like that. Like, that feedback slip inside the dolls, those dolls are playline dolls from MGA, regardless of like who they're really for. They're marketing Bratz as something for collectors, nostalgia people, and kids. That's just the truth. Regardless of how they are to like obtain, how hard they are to obtain, or how like prevalent they are in their marketing and stuff like that, that's how they're being marketed. G3 is marketed the same way. They're for kids, but they're also for collectors. We see that on their social medias. So they're marketing to the same people. They're about the same price point, but their willingness to change and listen to feedback from people is so different. And again, I have to say this again because I don't want people commenting being like, they're completely different companies, they operate completely different. I know that. I'm just saying what I think. I know Mattel is a publicly open, like, publicly owned company. I know they have stockholders that they have to go through for a lot of the releases, but again, maybe there's just something like I truly do not understand, but how can a doll, this core doll, that costs $24.99, costs the same amount, this doll is poly, core Frankie does not have poly. How can they cost the same, have around the same amount of like accessories and quality and clothing and are the same exact like doll build? How can they have that all the same, but their hair quality or their hair type has to be changed to keep the price the same? That's something I personally just don't get. Maybe someone of you could explain it to me, but it's just, why can't they all have saran? You have the saran in the warehouse. Maybe it's not the color that you want, really, or maybe it's not like the exact shade. Find alternatives. You as a company that's producing dolls or like toys for kids, you should want that kid to have the most pleasant experience with a toy. You can't have a pleasant experience with a doll with poly hair. You just can't unless you know how to properly treat it, which these kids don't know how to do, these parents don't know how to do unless they were doll collectors themselves or they collect dolls. So it's just really, really, really frustrating because we see there are dolls with the exact same quality, if not higher quality, with saran hair compared to the dolls with poly. Like, that's just what I don't get. That's my biggest point, is that like, you can have an entire core series where 4 out of the 6 dolls have saran, but 2 of them can have poly, but those quality-wise are the exact same except for the hair type. So I just don't get it. Because if they're all costing about the same to make, is the hair really that much cheaper in poly than it is to just give them saran like everybody else? Like, are you really losing that much money? And again, that also goes back to aesthetics. But just like, if it's like a slightly different shade of like lilac, or if it's a slightly different shade of this like weird grayish purple, just change it. I guarantee you, people will be so much happier if the doll has saran or nylon or any other hair type besides poly. But yeah, I think that's everything that I wanted to talk about. This part was a lot more like organized than the last thing I recorded, but yeah, again, same thing I stated at the beginning of the video. Please don't send hate to anybody. Don't fight in the comments. Please don't start anything. I don't even know if this video is gonna get a lot of views because it is a longer one, so I don't know. But yeah, if you guys liked hearing me rant about poly hair and my qualms with it as a doll collector and why I think kids should have high quality hair on dolls, and why I think it's quite frankly really, really fucking stupid that this doll is poly but their counterparts have saran, maybe like, comment, subscribe. I will bring more videos. If you guys like this format, I'll bring them back. I think the last time I recorded a video like this, it was for my rest in peace mermaids video that I did a while back. I think that was like December or January, like a while ago. But yeah, I don't really know what to say because I don't want to keep rambling, and this is already going longer than I intended. But if you guys liked, do all that fun stuff, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.